A few weeks ago, there was an article on the website Screen Rant that was kind of going around the community because it was titled the 15 Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were so powerful they should have been banned, and there were a ton of hilarious entries on that list, clearly written by someone that hadn't played Yu-Gi-Oh in a while. Well, I thought I would go out and see if Screen Rant, the wonderful website that it seems to be like a worse version of BuzzFeed, which is not saying a lot, I wanted to see if there was more articles on Yu-Gi-Oh, and turned out there are several articles on Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, I will mention that a lot of them were based on the anime, so we're not going to look at those ones, at least for now, only because I don't really watch the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I haven't in a long time. But this one caught my eye. So it's the 15 insane card design mistakes you can't unsee. And I thought we would kind of sit down and go through all 15 of these entries live. Might be kind of fun. Just judging on the last article we read, I'm sure there'll be some hilarious entries on this list. Now, I will say, this wasn't quite what I thought it was. Basically, what the list is going to be is just all cards that Konami printed incorrectly and then errata to fix. So that's kind of weird. But one of these opening paragraphs, this one right here, is really funny. So it says, Konami seriously needs to get off their high horse as they've allowed numerous Yu-Gi-Oh cards to be printed with messed up text and artwork. What struck me about that is that that's not really the way that you're supposed to use the phrase get off your high horse. That was kind of weird. These screwed up cards can usually be sent in for a free swap, but only a fool would do that, as these misprinted cards are worth even more than the rarest cards in the game, which is in most cases simply just not true. In the past, I mean, I haven't really looked at this list, but just thinking of some of the cards that have been misprinted and then they got errata to actually be how they're supposed to be, usually there's not like a huge discrepancy in how much each version costs, and in some cases I think the misprinted version is actually worth less, simply because usually the misprinted versions of cards are printed in the first edition printing of a set, where the fixed versions are printed in the unlimited version. So I don't know if that's necessarily true, but if Screen Rant says it, it must be gospel. So anyway, let's move on. We have counter. This one was funny. If you don't know, this card just counters a counter trap. The problem with it is that it wasn't printed as a counter trap. It was printed as a normal trap card. Let's see here. It talks about counter traps. Some of the best trap cards in the game are counter traps for this very reason, talking about how they can negate anything. This includes Legs of Solemn Judgment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about that? The Light Kinetic Soldier, when was that printed? Oh, CP04. Kinetic Soldier is supposed to be an Earth. It's always been treated as an Earth, but it looks like this one printing came out as a Light, which is obviously not what it's supposed to be. Although they do mention here that there are no like weaknesses or advantages by having different attributes on cards. So really this didn't change it that much. I'd say the only real difference by having this card be light is that you can banish it with four cards like BLS and Chaos Sorcerer. But I don't know, that's really something to like hound in on them. And also, just looking at the card, it seems more like a light monster anyway. The Violet Korean Neos... Oh! Neos Wiseman was printed as a fusion monster? The Korean version of Neos Wiseman is one of the few Yu-Gi-Oh cards to ever be printed with the wrong color. The Korean version... Well, isn't this... I think I'm pretty sure that this card was a fusion monster in the anime. The only reason I say that is because on my anime review videos, the anime card review videos, I've gotten several comments from people saying that this card was supposed to be a fusion monster. That's actually hilarious because on the card there, you can see it doesn't have a line for like the fusion materials. So they just printed this as a fusion monster, but like no one like stopped. And I don't like read Korean obviously, but I would imagine that the type still says spellcaster / effect, not fusion. So that seems like a huge oversight. But the Korean cards in general, I know that they're kind of in a weird category because I think they fall under the OCG cards, but I feel like they're like separate in some ways. I don't see a lot of Korean cards. I see way more Japanese cards. Moving on, the featherless book. I mean, who cares? So the feather was removed? Why? This has happened. Talking about 4K edits. This might seem as some printing. Oh, they don't even give a reason. So they just got rid of the... Are they added? No, they got rid of the feather. What could possibly be offensive about a feather? Or maybe it was like... I actually have no idea. That's like kind of strange that they just got rid of the feather on a card. That of all the things to like censor, that just this almost seems like an accident. But I guess you wouldn't be able to, like, you can't just accidentally like remove a feather. So that one I'm kind of curious about. The fictional, oh, okay, I actually remember this one. This is in the rare printing of Wild Edge. It says Edgeman in the fusion material, and the reason it says this is because I guess in the OCG, the direct translation of Blade Edge is Edgeman, or something along those lines. And I remember playing someone at an event where I summoned Wild Edge. I mean, this was back in the day when I was playing like freaking Element to Heroes or whatever. And I remember summoning this card, and the person I was playing against said like, oh, you didn't use Edgeman. I said like, clearly that's like a mistranslation, and they were just like, no, if you don't have an Edgeman in your deck, you can't make this card. And I was like, okay, I guess. So whoever that person was, thank you for cheating. But yeah, this card got that's actually a pretty fun one, I think. Exodia doesn't know the difference between you and your what? The version of Exodia, the Forbidden One, that appeared in Master Collection Volume 1 had a mistake. It says, in addition to this card in, oh, you hand. Oh, God. Does that mean that if they're putting this in here, that means they're probably going to put, like, Chaos Emperor Dragon? I think it still says, or which card? There's, like, one card that says Destroy. No, it's Chaos Emperor Dragon. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend does, like, the same mistake. There's, like, I know this, wow, they're really, like, nitpicking for, like, this, like, I think just in general, this whole list is kind of just nitpicking, where it's like there's like hundreds of thousands of cards printed over like a 20-year span, and they're like, remember those 15 times Konami screwed up? Well, we're gonna call them out for no reason. The name box is there. Okay, so what they're showing here is a Ring of Destruction that was misprinted. The problem is that this happens on like every card, basically. Like pretty much not the common ones, but pretty much any card where the name is stamped on there, like Ultra, Ultimate, and Secret, you'll be able to find a misprint of. And they're kind of talking about that, like, I guess this was common in the Invasion of Chaos Special Edition, but just in general, you'll still find this on modern cards, or they'll just be printed without the stamp. It's simply just because, like, the process of stamping a name, like, there's bound to be some errors. That seems like a weird, they're like, the name box is there for a reason, clearly, like, ignoring the fact that it's just, like, a printing error. The Marshmallon Ritual, yep, this was a common problem with the Premium Pack 1. It's not just this card. There are several cards in the set where the name is accidentally mixed up. Premium Pack was just like a mess. Like, I was looking forward to that set a lot, but like it actually was just like, as far as printing quality goes, it was a disaster. Transforming Dragon Ice. Okay, so like, you see like the problem here, shout out to the airplane outside, but you see the problem here is that number 8 and number 7 are the exact same thing. Like it is once again, like I'm sure that this means that they'll put the Chaos Neos example, which was also, yeah, it's in this set I believe, but it's just like it's the exact same error. The Prime Monarch can't spell cards. Or do they just mess up cards? I had the word card misspelled. It said Karads. It said Karads. What else do you want? What else do you want from Screen Rant other than to point out that the Prom Monarch? I never noticed that. I played Monarchs with like those cards. I never noticed that said Karads. The wrong Dark Paladin. What was wrong with it? Actually, the initial printing. Which one's the wrong one? The one on the left is the original printing. The one on the right is the reprint. I don't know. They don't really talk about which one was like the wrong one. So I guess Dark Paladin got the wrong printing. That seems a little strange. The Hero. There you go. That's exactly what I just mentioned. This misprint is actually worth quite a lot of money because it's a ghost rare. So like it already was hard to pull. I mean, just like in general, ghost rare cards from back then were extremely valuable, and like nowadays too, just because they were so hard to pull. But then also adding on top of that, they have this like this misprint where the Rainbow Dragon card gets the image from Chaos Neos, which is hilarious. Windy Nitro Warrior. Basically the exact same thing as Kinetic Soldier. Like there's only like three different types of misprints on this entire list, which is ridiculous. The terrible version of Megamorph. Wait, what? What's the version of Oh. What? Let's pick That's so... So what they're saying is that Metal Morph was originally printed as a regular... They're basically saying that the problem with the premium pack Metal Morph is that it's a continuous trap card, so like it equips to the card, and then if the card leaves the board, like it stays on the board, I guess is what they're saying. Is that even how that works though? Because it equips to it? I don't know. Like Ultra Geist Manifestation as a normal trap card, but like it leaves the board because it's equipped to the thing. I don't think that's how that card works. I don't think it stays on the board. Maybe it does. Maybe it's like Call on it. I don't know. Number 1, this is like 800 less defense. Yeah, the original printing of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is worth talking about probably like in another video. But Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, the first printing was in a gold series, I believe. Yeah. But what's funny about that is that this happened in 2006, but what they're... Oh, they even mentioned it here, yeah. Blue Eye Shining Dragon was printed, like, years before that. I don't know how many years, but definitely, like, years back when the original Pyramid of Light movie was out, which means that, like, you couldn't even summon that card. Like, not that the card's, like, good at all, but you couldn't even summon that card simply because, like, Ultimate Dragon didn't exist, and there was no other way. So that card, for a long time, you couldn't even play it. Not that you would want to. Anyway, though, that's going to wrap up this list. Man, this one's, like, just... I mean, I'm pretty sure they just, like, Googled Yu-Gi-Oh! Misprints and then just, like, stole someone else's list. Like, I almost could, like, guarantee that. Just based on the other Screen Rant article we read where it's just, like, this doesn't have any new information. This is all pretty common knowledge, I think, among collectors. None of these, like, wowed me. Not a single one of these, like, really surprised me besides, like, the Prime Monarch one. And I guess this one, which is kind of weird. But, yeah, it was kind of fun to go through and look at some cards that got errata and cards that were misprinted. Let me know what you thought about this video and what you think about these misprints. And also let me know if you have any other misprinted cards that don't fall into, like, any of these categories. Like, none of the ones where it's like, oh, they stamped the wrong name, or they printed they translated the card wrong, like in the case of Wild Edge. I've seen some really cool misprints out there. I think one of the coolest ones that I've seen is where, like, you'll see, like, there'll be, like, 4 rares in a row, and every single name is stamped to, like, halfway between the cards. So if you put all 4 cards in a row, you can see, like, the names of them, like, stamped across them, not in line at the top. That one's pretty cool. If I can find an image of those, I'll try to show you, but I don't know if I'll be able to. But it's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.